Product Bucker Season 4, Episode 7, Crafting a Product Narrative That Converts. Welcome back to Product Bucker. Let me start with the truth most product managers overlook. People don't buy products, they buy stories they want to be part of. Think about it. Whether you're pitching investors, convincing customers, or aligning your own team, logic gets attention. But stories create belief. And belief is what moves people to try, to adopt, and to advocate. Today, we're talking about how to craft a product narrative that truly converts. Not one that lists features, but one that makes people feel something and say, yes, this is for me. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Rishikesh, a product manager and the founder of Product Sense. On Product Bucker, we talk about the invisible work of product, the thinking, the framing, and the stories that quietly decide whether a product wins or disappears. All right, let's talk narrative. When Apple launched the first iPod, they could have led with specs. They could have said 1 gigabyte of storage, MP3 player, 5 button interface. Instead, they said 1,000 songs in your pocket. That single line did more work than a spec sheet ever could because it answered the real question users always ask: what does this mean for me? Specs inform, stories inspire. As product managers, we often obsess over features, but users don't wake up thinking about features. They are thinking about outcomes. Less stress, more control, feeling confident, feeling capable. A great product narrative translates complexity into emotion, and it does it consistently. In your homepage copy, on your demo calls, in your investor pitch, and in your internal storytelling. Narrative isn't a marketing layer, it's a product responsibility. Here's a usable framework you can apply to any product. I call it the three C's of product storytelling. First, context. This is the world before your product. Describe the problem in human language, not system language, not business language, human language. For example, teams spend their entire day in meetings yet still feel out of sync. That doesn't describe a feature, it describes frustration. Your job is to make the audience say, yes, that's my life. If they don't feel the pain, nothing else matters. Second, change. This is your why now. What has shifted in the world that makes this problem urgent? Technology, behavior, context. For example, with remote work, asynchronous communication isn't optional anymore. Now the problem feels unavoidable. Change creates relevance. Without it, your product feels nice to have. Third, clarity. This is the after state, the transformation you deliver. Simple, concrete, repeatable. For example, with Loom you explain once and everyone gets it. No jargon, no feature dump. Context, change, clarity. That's a product narrative in under 20 seconds. Let's look at some examples. When Notion grew globally, they didn't say docs, wikis, and databases. They said the all in one workspace for your life. That single sentence collapsed complexity into meaning. Everything fit under one idea. Or take Duolingo. They could have led with gamified language learning. Instead, they said, learn a language for free forever. That story didn't optimize for cleverness, it optimized for trust. And then there's Airbnb. Their early tagline wasn't book affordable rooms, it was belong anywhere. That line reframed travel, not about accommodation, about belonging. And that's what great narratives do. They don't just explain value, they help users see themselves inside the product. Here's the part most PMs miss: you are already a storyteller even if you don't realize it. You tell stories when you write a roadmap, when you demo a feature, when you name an epic, when you explain a trade off. The question is this: is your story intentional? Ask yourself, does this narrative make the user the hero of the story? Can someone outside my team repeat this story and still get it right? And does it sound like meaning or like marketing? If your narrative doesn't travel, your product won't either. Clarity spreads, confusion doesn't. Here's your Bucker moment: data convinces, stories convert. Your product isn't just solving a problem, it's promising a transformation. So don't sell the tool, sell the change it creates. Because people don't remember what your product does, they remember how it made them feel. That's it for this episode of Product Bucker. Next week, we go fully tactical: the launch discipline. How great teams turn chaos into calm checklists and make launches look effortless even when they're anything but. Until then, craft your story, because the product is what you build, but the story is what people remember.